Hello, welcome back to my garden. I have some good news. I've been accepted to the Epic Gardening Affiliate Program. What does that mean to you? That means I can give you guys a 5% discount code. So if you want, you can go over to Epic Gardening and you buy yourself a birdie's bed. You can buy seed starting materials. You can buy gardening tools. You can buy books on gardening. All sorts of good stuff that Kevin has over at Epic Gardening. Now that code is GROWING. Very simple. Growing. I'll have a link below as well, and if you forget all that, you can go over to growinggreenfinger.com through the resource page, and I have links to that store and others as well. So again, if you guys want to save yourself 5% on anything in the Epic Gardening store, just go ahead and type growing when you check out over at the Epic Gardening store. So enough of that. Here we are today in front of the last section of the flower garden border. And this section here, I call it the last section because it's the last unfinished section. Right now, it is a grassy, weedy mess. And if you followed some of my other videos from earlier in the year, you saw me do the expansion, lay out the whole section, and start to fill the beds with plants. This section here will be the last section I do this year. And in fact, it completes the border to the flower garden room, shall we call it. The space is 60 feet wide by approximately 90 feet long. So this last section here, I'll probably wind up planting up next year. Although maybe I'll plant it up this year. I start planting it this year. I'm not really sure about that. I do have some seeds that I've started, plants which hopefully I'll be able to plant out in the fall, and I'll talk more about that in an upcoming video. What I really want to do today is just get it not looking like this. I just really want to turn around and get this hacked down, covered with cardboard, thin layer of mulch, a thin layer of compost, and a little mulch on top of that. And that should then finish off this. Before I get into doing what I'm going to do today, I just want to touch briefly on what I'm thinking about maybe for the future with this space. As I mentioned in a previous video, I'm going to take about 8 feet right here, and I'm going to extend the dahlia area. These are all my named dahlias. I'm going to dig up all the dahlias this fall, and I'll bring you guys along for that, and I'll explain more of what I'm going to be doing. But I'm going to be expanding the named dahlia section into this first 8-foot area over here, which was always part of my plan. I think to help separate it from the rest of the flower beds, I'm going to plant a few shrubs. Could be Japanese holly, maybe boxwood. I don't think so though. Maybe something else. Again, I'm unsure of what I may wind up doing, but I definitely want some sort of division or dividing line to then separate it from the rest of the beds here. At some point in the future, I'd like to get a banana tree. Maybe put it here. Or a palm tree. Doesn't have to be a huge 20, 30 foot tall palm tree, but a nice palm tree and a banana tree. Two plants that I don't have that I would like to have. So I'm thinking maybe somewhere in this section here. And then what I'm also thinking about this fall is taking a slice maybe down over this side and collecting all of my peonies and putting them together. I have peonies scattered throughout the garden, and only in the 4 years that I've had them, only one has flowered. The downside of that is I will not have them flower for at least 3 years probably, but at least they'll all be together and I can pay closer attention to them as opposed to one in the front of the house over there, a couple over here. I think there's one behind you guys on the other side of the flower garden. So they're all sort of scattered about. So that's what I'm thinking is maybe just, pull them together into one section and do that. And as the flower garden is coming together, I'm thinking, like I just mentioned, put all the peonies together. I have all my irises together a little further down the row here. I have my dahlias over here, and I'm thinking maybe leaving a section of this area open next year and just doing a large 4 foot wide, maybe even 8 foot wide, just huge mass of zinnias. Because I think that would be pretty awesome, as opposed to one zinnia over here, one zinnia over there. Put them all together. They look pretty wild. I do have a clump over in the vegetable garden this year, and it's actually like 4 plants, and they are just starting to look really awesome bunched all together. And again, I'm a growing gardener. I'm figuring all this out. So I've never really done any of this stuff before, so far as design or putting certain plants together. So this is one of the things I'm thinking about doing. And I'm just kind of trying to bring you guys along on my haphazard, squirrely little brain and talk about what it is I'm doing. If you guys have any suggestions or thoughts or comments, please leave them below. Instead of boring you guys with me cutting all this down, because I've already been talking too long, let me just move on with it. And just like that, we are done with cutting down the grass. At least took the weed whacker, whack grass down as low as possible, and the next step will be to lay cardboard on top of it, and then I can start applying the mulch and the compost. You don't have to till up the ground. That's the whole point of no dig. The reason I cut the grass down so low is just so that the cardboard lays flatter. All the grass clippings are left in place, and all the grass that's on the ground and all the grass clippings, just organic matter to help enrich the soil. Because that's the whole point, is to enrich the crappy soil beneath my feet, which is, as I've mentioned before, horrible, clay-like, loamy, thick loam. It's awful. So instead of trying to till the whole thing up, disturbing all the microorganisms that are already in the ground, all the worms, etc., 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 you just basically plant on top. All the stuff from beneath will come up, gobble up all the compost, and pull it back down to the ground. And eventually, over the next few years, I'll have maybe 3 to 4 inches of workable soil beneath my feet, beneath the ground level. And then hopefully over the next, say, decade, I'll have maybe 8 to 12 inches of diggable, good, healthy earth beneath my feet. All this takes time, so I'm going to stop talking and start working. Well, once again, the southern heat and humidity has failed to kill me. Although that being said, I'm probably tempting Mother Nature with a lightning strike or something. It is going to rain soon, so you're not going to see me put down mulch. And I do want to see how all this compost settles over the next couple of days as we get rain, because we're supposed to get rain over the next few days. And I may wind up adding another bag or two just to cover up some maybe shallow spots. I'm trying to add about 1 inch evenly at least over the whole thing. I don't plan on planting really into any of this until at the earliest, maybe possibly this fall. Sophie has found some grass to play with. This right now is just to sort of give a finished look to the space and to help the area start to rot and break down. The cardboard again smothers the grass. The dying grass adds organic matter to the soil. The earthworms, beetles, ants, and all the good fun stuff starts to come up from underneath, eating up the cardboard and the rotting mulch, compost I should say, and just adds to that soil goodness. Next spring, when I do plan on doing quite a bit of planting into this space to try to start filling it out, then I will be adding at least 4 to 6 more inches of compost on top of what's already here, because obviously the 1 inch is not going to cut it. May wind up planting some shrubbery this fall, perhaps, maybe, we'll see. For that, I will dig through the cardboard if it's still there, if it hasn't totally rotted away. And I will dig into the ground and of course amend the soil just like I do with any other shrub or tree planting. For now, this project, we're gonna consider quasi done. Like I said, it's about to rain right now. Probably about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes away, maybe sooner. And I still have some cleanup to do. Sophie, what are you doing back there? It's too hot to pick her up and I'm barely standing. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Click that bell icon to be notified when I do post a new video. If you want 5% discount over at Epic Gardening, if you haven't checked out Epic Gardening, please go check out that. The link is below. The link is here on the screen. That code for a discount is growing. You can use that from now until they kick me out of the program. There's still a lot going on in the garden. And of course, there's those magical benches, which I keep talking about, and I've been talking about since the early spring, which I really do intend on building before the fall, theoretically, maybe. They might get pushed off to winter project. We'll see. I'm about to fall down, so I'm gonna catch you on the next one. Bye-bye. I'm not even gonna do a walk-off. No, we're just gonna end the video right here.